Well, let's bring up Chris. Chris Vallone from Vallone Works. Chris, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your patience getting this thing up and running. And
all good.
Why don't you do us a favor, introduce yourself, tell us what you're up to. I'm so excited to hear about, your journey and all that stuff, but catch us up on who you are.
So Chris Vallone from New York, moved to Florida a couple of years ago, which has been great. And back in New York, I went to school for fine art, got a bachelor's of fine art, and grew up on Looney Tunes cartoons, and grew up on the great classic movies like Terminator and Predator and Usual Suspects, Shawshank Redemption, Braveheart, Gladiator, Apocalypto, movies that I grew up with, sitting with my pop, and watching the movie and saying, hey, damn, man, that was a damn good movie, And ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to tell stories. So I've been probably telling stories for 30 years or more. And when I got out of college, I jumped in on filmmaking, and I got involved with in the DV revolution in the early 2000s when, mini DV tape came into play, and you were able to get a camera for pretty inexpensively for the time, broadcast quality, and shoot on tape. And it was a somewhat of an acceptable format if you were to screen at, say, a festival or something. Even though back then, a lot of filmmakers who shot on film were negating it because they said, oh, that's not real filmmaking, you're using a tape, that kind of thing. So technology always has,
right? It's not as high resolution.
You're right. That's exactly it. But so I pumped out probably, I don't know, 8-10 films I did in a course of like 8 or 10 years or so. And then I got to the point in New York where I'm like, all right, I got into film festivals, got into Tribeca, went to California, got into some festivals, that kind of thing. It was a good time. But in the end, living in New York, I had to start making some money. So I started my own business, and I used my art talent to run my business for the last 20 years. But now, fast forward to now, and AI came into my life a little over 2 years ago. And I said, wow, I wrote so many stories back in the day that I could never film because I didn't have the budget. I didn't have the cast, or the connections. And I always had some grand ideas, way out of my budget league, to make anything. Because the stuff that I made on Mini DV was all shoestring budget. I mean, I didn't pay any of the actors. I had a stunt team. I didn't pay them, and they beat each other up, these guys. So
role as a guy with an acting degree, I can vouch for that we'll do anything for free. You just have to we'll do it.
Oh, I did. I provided you free food that my mom cooked. So she's Sicilian, and so we got some good food. But we did have a good time. But fast forward to now, and I'm like, wow, I can resurrect a lot of my old stories that I wrote that I could never ever do. Let me just start dabbling in that, and it's been thrilling to say the least. I can say, to see my old characters and old designs and story ideas come to life today, that I can bring together on a 5-year-old laptop. Right. And put something epic together is pretty exhilarating, I got to say.
Yeah. Do you want to show? I've got a trailer teed up here for one of your works. Why don't you want to show that, and then just we'll sort of dig in from there.
Sure, absolutely.
Beautiful. All right, let me get this rolling. There we go.
Oh, this is horrible. This is so scary. Ooh. Damn.
It strikes me about that is hang on, let me switch. There we go. What strikes me about that is a lot of those shots, if you were to shoot them with actors in films, and like the cost of just doing that trailer would be insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
That's exactly it. And that's my latest one that I've done. I mean, I've done several already the past year or so. Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm driven heavily by music, similar to what Looney Tunes was like and what Walt Disney did with Fantasia. He would listen to music, and then the music would, in essence, speak to him and what the story would be. So he got a lot of flack when he put out Fantasia, because there was Christmas music in Fantasia, but the themes and the stories of what he put together was not Christmas themed. Right, so people were like, "Oh, but you're using a Christmas song." It's like, no, that song talked to me as something else, you know. So I grabbed that, and I listen to music. I mean, I'm in the gym and I'm listening to cinematic stuff. I'm listening to Braveheart music, Gladiator music, and then, you know, YouTube throws out some other feeds, some real artists today, and I can listen to a song and come up with a story. And it's like a blessing and a curse at the same time, because then I can't go to sleep. All night long, I'm thinking of this story, this music's running through my head, and I'm basically plotting the whole story together. But so that's Echoes of Antietam. I mean, it's something that I was just going to bed one night and just boom, it just popped right in my head. I'm like, I gotta flesh this out. If I don't get this out of me, I can't get to sleep. So I started banging it out. So about 2 months, I think I put that together. And then the one before that was my big one, 𝘺𝘰𝘶, the Summoned Blade. That was 15 minutes, that short. And that took me 4 months to make. And I wrote that 18 years ago. Oh, wow. And I said, I got to bring her to life. And again, inspired by Apocalypto, Braveheart, Gladiator, Last of the Mohicans, even a little bit of Dances with Wolves. You know, I like that kind of stuff. And I just wanted to put that together. But, you know, with AI, as you making a movie, and it's taken me that long to make, and you're seeing how the technology is moving so fast.
I was going to say, that I'm like, you're making it over 4 months. The tech's probably different by the time you get to the.
Oh my! The first month, I'm like, what? Do I go back and remaster it? Do I change it? I mean, do I just keep streaming ahead? Plowing ahead, and that's what I did. I didn't stop. I just kept going. And she took off. She's doing really well on my channel. I mean, I have another YouTube channel for my business, and I don't get the views anywhere near what she got. She got over 402,000 views.
You put that in festivals and things like that, right? Is that that journey?
All of them. I've been submitting all of them to film festivals, and you know, I always have this topic of a conversation with other filmmakers, AI filmmakers, in the film group that I've started here in Florida for a year now. You know, are festivals still relevant? I guess they still are. I mean, they were back in the day when I was making movies. I mean, that was your way to get your work out there. But with the internet today, AI, I mean, just get it out there. I mean, at least, 402,000 views. I could never get that many views at film festivals. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's been submitting them. It's a mixed bag when I go to these festivals and what people think. Yeah. When you got to go up and talk about your film after it just showed, people are like, half clapping, some of them, but then some grab it and some totally get it. And I tell people, look,
is that because you're in a festival where there's some AI films, some not? Is this an anti-AI thing where you're getting the half claps?
Yeah, I think so. And some of the festivals I get into, I'm the only AI film. So there's still a lot of festivals out there that are still very traditional, which is great. I'm all for it. But there's this pre-notion that they think you're going to ChatGPT, typing in a prompt, and boom, your whole movie's done.
I know.
And so I have to reiterate to the audience and say, hey, look, not for nothing, but I wrote this girl 18 years ago. She is my design. The characters are my design. This is my direction. This is my editing, my storytelling, my sound mixing, and a real composer made, I used music from a real composer. So, if you're a creative person and you have some great ideas, why wouldn't you use AI to bring your stuff to life. I mean, I could never do this 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So it's thrilling. But then there's AI festivals you get into, and of course you're mingling a little bit better, of course.
Can you talk a little bit about the experience of the creative process, including hours and hours and hours of prompting versus hours and hours and hours of other activities, other things you do with your brain, your fingers, and your body, and the environment that you're in?
So since I went to school for art, I did work with my hands for years. My
Yeah.
business for 20 years is restoring vintage Volkswagen Beetles.
Yeah.
So that's my other time, and I work with my hands. If that's what you're getting at, but I think I tell people all the time with this, you got to keep the human element in this. I think if you go all AI, all digital with it, I think there's an issue, So let's keep the human element in this. And so my stories are written by me. I use ChatGPT as, I say, a writing partner.
Yeah.
But not to take over the whole story. Bang ideas off. If I was sitting with a friend of mine and we're writing this script together, that kind of thing. But I always have the idea to bang out first. As long as you keep the human element in this still, I think it's going to be okay.
What feels different to you from when you were doing films with on DV, when you were doing the films in the early 2000s? Like, does it feel like the same process? Do you miss the camaraderie of the set? Like what's compare and contrast, like what the
That's what I was
like.
That's one of the things I was wondering about, like versus hanging around with actors and the
Yes.
great people and
And I'm a people person myself. So like even I love face-to-face communication. I grew up on that. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s where we used to jump on our bike and tell my parents, see you later, I'm going to go call for my friends. So I hate actually being on the screens all the time. And yes, I do miss being with my actors and my stunt team and giving them the direction. The only thing you had back then was, limit to budget and time, money. Of course, it was a huge factor. It was a lot of stunts I wanted to do, but we just feasibly could not do it. In 𝘺𝘰𝘶𝘬, there's battle scenes. I got natives on horses, and there's sword fighting, and I'm able to actually do impalements with swords and fighting and battle that I could never do back then. I mean, just the makeup alone and the effects alone to do that. But I do miss the human side of it. It's really cool. But at the same time, we did have problems with actors and actresses, right? They didn't show up, right? Oh, I got a stomach ache today. I can't make it. Or what? I can't get a ride there. I'm sorry. That because I used to shoot in Rockland County, New York, which is just north of New York City. So a lot of the actors that I had from Manhattan would take a train or a bus up to me, and then I'd have to pick them up. And back then the term wasn't even used, but there was ghosting back then. So there's the trials and tribulations there. I mean, I think when you're on a film set, one guy said it right. You are going to war in a way, because it is stressful. You got time to think about, especially when you're really on a budget and people are working full time. There was times we would go wee hours of the night, do a 13-hour to 15-hour shoot. And, we're done at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then the people got to go to work the next day. So, there was issues with that. Yeah, no, for sure. And I was a rebel without a crew. I mean, I followed Robert Rodriguez's book, I didn't have a crew. And, if any of my guys were standing around doing nothing, I tell them, here, hold the boom pole or grab a light here and help me out. It was one of those things. So it is, with the streamlining with AI and be able to do a production. And I mean, 𝘺𝘰𝘶, as involved as it was, 4 months only to make it. It was about $4,000 of my money though to make it, but still a fraction of what it would actually cost to make that. That would have been $1 million, $2 million, $10 million to make what I put together in 4 months. So
Amazing. Wow. My question just went out of my head.
I have a question.
Oh,
Sure.
go.
So it's related to the barrier that is budget. and how I'm wondering if up and coming filmmakers would be doing themselves a real disservice to not have AI, generative AI in their repertoire, because even in competing for funding, they're going to, those without any of the AI components, generative AI components, are inherently going to be much more expensive projects.
Yeah.
So is that going to like make independent is that going to change independent film? And like, I don't know. I mean, I could just imagine, I don't know a lot about the industry, but I can imagine that we're going to be able to see more sort of outsider art or indie art, because it's not going to be quite as expensive and budget might not be the same barrier.
Well, that's it. And that's what's taking it by storm. And that's why, you know, the whole notion online right now with Hollywood is that they're fearful. In a way, they're fearful for their jobs or stuff. And then you got some New York schmuck like me, some outsider guy that's saying, hey, I can make a story. Because, you know, how many times I went to, you know, we go to movies when, you know, back in the day, and we would leave the movie theater, say, man, that movie really sucked. Like, who the hell did they get to write that? But now you don't have to feel like that's really bottom of the barrel anymore to say, yeah, we need a contact to get in, or how are we going to make this thing? We can't do it. Now, I mean, you got the idea. I mean, you can literally fledge it out and make it. If you're creative enough, I mean, I would think it's going to take it by the world by storm. How Hollywood handles it in the end, you know, it's a good question. You know, it's given me the opportunity to then have a screenplay that I wrote many years ago, a full feature-length script, and if I can make the short or the trailer to it, now that's pitchable material. You know, so that helps too. An indie who would never have, you know, even the way to make the trailer, or they can do it now, and more power to it, you know. And so that's why I say some filmmakers who poo-poo the whole idea, I'm like, you know, I remember listening to a Walt Disney animator when CG was coming in, CGI, Pixar, that kind of 3D animation was coming in, and he did traditional cell animation. He worked on Beauty and the Beast, and he said he was irritated and irate that CG was coming in, because a lot of the artists that were making the CG at the time were just techies. They weren't artists. Yeah, they didn't have a fine art background like this guy had. But he said, if I don't jump on this train, I'm gonna lose my job. And I tell that to my students. I say, you know, I'm not saying you got to, you know, engulf yourself. Just learn something. Just get something under your belt, because it's coming. And this is a massive tidal wave. I mean, bigger than what we saw with the internet and Amazon, all coming in the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, this is pretty huge. So I tell filmmakers as well, I'm like, you got to get on it to some degree. You know, even if you use it part AI and part real live action, you know, the fact that you could do VFX now with it is great.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember I was watching a TV show not that long ago, maybe a year ago, and it was this scene where they rush from the barracks out to like a dirt airfield, right? And there's 4 Russian helicopters and, you know, 5 or 6 trucks, and like the people all rush out of the barracks and climb into the different vehicles, and the helicopters take off and the trucks drive away. And I'm like, I was just looking at that, and it was 20 seconds of film. Like, it wasn't that long.
Yeah.
But like, that was probably months in the planning, and like, you know, tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in insurance and renting vehicles, and right. And how many times they had to do it. And I'm like, oh, you could just prompt that now. Now you can't, because the, the coherency is not quite there, but for the most part, you can. Like you can do stuff that would be a major production.
No doubt.
For in that case, that was really just to establish, right? This was a big operation, and, you know, they had some stuff figured out, so I had to establish a point dramatically. But man, the cost of that was crazy, right? And just, you know, that goes away.
No doubt. Yeah.
Talk to me about, I remember when I was first playing with ChatGPT, and they added the ability to create images. I uploaded one of my screenplays, and I said, you know, tell me about my screenplay. This was something I had written 30 years earlier. So like, I kind of knew what it was, but I didn't remember any of the plot. And like, it you know, it synopsized it and things like that, but it also started drawing storyboard scenes, right? And as it was drawing the scenes, it immediately brought the story back to me. I'm curious what your experience is of taking something that's 18 years old and being able to go, yeah, let's just go make this. Like, what's that like emotionally for you to be able to resurrect those old ideas?
It's invigorating. It really is. I mean, and of course my mindset's a little different back then. What I wrote back then, I'm like, I'm wiser today. I can make the story a little bit better. But what's great with chat is that, like I said, you use it as a partner. And if I dump in the script or the synopsis of the film, of the screenplay, I mean, and what it bangs back out to, because I would say, I got a little writer's block here. I'm not sure where this character should go at this point. Give me 10 different scenarios. What do you think I should do? And so it would bang out the 10 different scenarios. And I'm like, all right, I like number 2. I like number 4. Maybe we can combine those 2. What do you think? And I'm literally chatting with it like this.
Yeah.
And I'm typing it in, and it's amazing.
You would say that's a writing partner if you were working with a writing partner. What would be
that's it.
Right?
Yep. That's exactly it. It's really great. I really, if you suffer from writer's block, this can help you. I mean, that stuff is gone now, because all it sometimes takes is from writer's block, just a little ignite, just a little match. And there we go. Now I know where he's got to go, the hero, that kind of thing. It's really great. Like I said, it's thrilling. It's like, I know people, it's scary and thrilling at the same time. Everyone thinks Terminator, but I don't know. I'm on the train right now, and I'm having a good time with it.
So the Coke ads, the Coca-Cola ads are always such a cultural touchstone, and we can kind of like mark different, shifts in technology and shifts in storytelling, just based on what Coca-Cola is doing with their ads. And I guess it kind of depends on what corner of the internet the algorithm has you pegged in. But I've been kind of surprised by the response to the AI generated holiday ad for Coke.
Yeah.
I'm wanted in that my corner of the internet seems to be very ready to pounce and say it's not good enough. And I wondered what your perception of the ad is and what you think it means for like where we are in the public being ready to enjoy or appreciate this kind of storytelling.
If this is the worst you're seeing of it, it's only going to get better.
Right.
That's it. I mean, it's already damn good. I even saw a Jeep commercial recently that was generated in AI. And when I watched the commercial, it's very good commercial. And it looked like any other commercial you see when you're watching a football game that they always go to, because so many of the commercials, they're all CG, all those cars are not real. And if you tell the people it's an AI commercial, they pounce on it. But if you never told them it was an AI commercial, they would never pick up on it. And some of the things, I see some of the comments below the Jeep commercial, and I'm like, this guy's just saying it because he hates the whole fact that AI is here. Like these are those people. You're going to have those naysayers, and it's with any new technology. Like go back the late 18. When were we doing photography? Well, like the late 1800s, where you took a snapshot and you called it art. Hey, stop! That's not art. What are you talking about? You just took a shot.
Yeah.
But now it's art, or fast forward to now, Photoshop comes into play, and the fact that you can undo an error. No, that's not real. That's not real art. You can't. If you make a real mistake, you make a real. That's the thing. And same with DV when all that came in. So any new technology, you always got to have these naysayers. But I always laugh because even on my Volkswagen channel, I have some AI videos there, and some of the people are pissed off. Oh, I hate AI. I hate that. We're using AI. I'm like, well, so if you hate AI, get off YouTube right now, because YouTube's AI. You're on social media. Get rid of that too. You get rid of your phone, get rid of your TV. It's all AI. What do you think? Right. Where do you think we are? So it's just I just go, whatever. You just keep going, and it's only going to get better. And I can't believe from when I did my first film last October to now, and the amount of change and the quote unquote fidelity has gotten so much better. It's really remarkable.
Yeah, really remarkable. Well, let me we ask this of every guest. Look, the time's flown by here. It's been great talking to you. But let me shift gears a bit. And we talk about AI readiness here. What does AI readiness mean to you? And what would you say to someone who is maybe ready to, jump in or wade into the shallow end even of AI?
Like what you said, jump in for a week and play around, make your mistakes, get your feet wet, and just go with it. Then there's so much education and information on the YouTube. I mean, it'll blow your mind how much education is out there. And just keep watching. And I tell my students to just take this slow. You don't be overwhelmed because I know that like you said, there's like 10,000 different apps. Just, and everything is very good today. Everything is very comparable. Everyone's racing for the top. But if you want to use 𝘵𝘩𝘪𝘴, or you want to use 𝘠𝘠𝘦, or you want to use another app like Flux, or there's 𝑛anoBanana, there's 𝘧𝘧, they all do relatively the same quality. And just pick a handful of them, try them out, and go from there. It's like anything else. Make your mistakes and just in the end, have fun.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Well, Chris, this has been absolutely awesome. What's next for you? I want to put, if people want to get in touch with you, your YouTube channel is 𝑉allone_works. Is that correct?
Yep, 𝑉allone_works. I'm on X with 𝑉allone_works and Instagram. And yeah, you can reach out to me there. Haven't made a website yet. I'm getting there, but I keep posting my videos up there on YouTube. And yeah, I got stuff coming down the pike still. I got so many story ideas that even myself, sometimes I got to slow down because I got a list. I got a sticky of a list of films I want to jump on. So, but yeah, I just going to festival. I actually got 2 festivals. One festival coming up this week in Florida here. 2 of my films are playing there. And then I'm running out to Tampa in the beginning of December for the Tampa Underground Film Festival for 𝘺𝘰𝘶𝘬𝘺. So running around, then I'll fly up to New York. I got a couple festivals up there. So yeah, it's all good. Like I'm having a good time. And so, yeah.
Beautiful. And what's the thing you're most excited about coming up? Like technology wise, anything that's got your curiosity piqued?
To make a feature. I mean, I made that short that was 15 minutes. It took me 4 months. I'm like, all right. So, okay, maybe it takes me a year to make a feature.
Elon Musk said when they do Grok 5, he said, we're going to go from 15-second videos to 30-minute videos.
Yes.
Wow.
It's crazy.
You make a leap like that where you can just knock out a 5-minute scene with a prompt. the shot from there to a feature is not maybe as far as it seems, but we'll see.
Yep. It's coming. It really is coming. Because they're already starting to do it. Hollywood's already dipping in on it. They've already licensed some features. I mean, I had one of the most exciting things that happened to me in October, where 𝘺𝘰𝘶 got to Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, nice.
The filmmaker. And yep, he's got a new production company called Brass Knuckle Films, and where he does somewhat kind of like a crowdsourcing thing on this website called Republic. And if you could be Joe Schmo like me, could be an investor to his new production. And then if the movie makes money and it gets produced, I mean, that you get kickback on that. So, which is really cool. But what was great is, as being an investor, I have first dibs to pitch to him.
Oh, wow.
So he grabbed up, I think there was somewhat like 1,000 submissions, and it came down to the last like 23 that he picked. And I was one of the 23, and I sat down with him on a 20-minute Zoom call. And I'm a guy that I've idolized for 30 years and read his book and learned from, and pitched to him 𝘺𝘰𝘶, because we both like Frank Frazetta. So Frank Frazetta was also a big inspiration for me to make this film. And it was really cool. I mean, he didn't select it. He won 2 other guys, but just to get to that point, and this is where we are in this tech. I mean, the fact that, like I said, I got the script and now the short to showcase, it's pitchable. And to be able to reach to somebody like him, I mean, I'm just so grateful I even got to that point, so yeah, it's really cool.
Well, thank you so much. Let's stay in touch. Absolutely. So can't wait to see what you do next.
Yeah,
I appreciate you guys.
thanks for film.
It's been fun. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.